Is this a Rittal cabinet? This is a logical controls cabinet. 3D model up a control panel in AutoCAD, but this time rather than use a pre-built panel, a Schneider or an Eldon or something, I'm going to make the panel myself. Okay, so we've got the enclosure, we've got the mounting plate, we need a plinth, we need to put some handles and stuff on the door. You can see you've kind of got the beginnings of an enclosure there. So I don't know if anyone's ever seen this before. Let me just zoom in. This is what I'm talking about. So most enclosures that I work with, almost all of them I would say, use MK equipment, MK like handles, MK hinges, that sort of thing, and that's the cutout for the handle. It's a 22.5mm circle with a 20.1mm square. I'll show you it. 22.5, and then we want a square which is 20.1 by 20.1, and then I just shove that in the center, and I want to keep the rounded corners but bin off the rounded sides, if that makes sense. So cut that, cut that, cut that, cut that, cut them two, but then keep the straight sides. So that ends up being the cutout for those MK handles. Okay, so now we've got an enclosure. Let's just hide all that. We're just going to focus on the mounting plate now and putting components on. We'll start off doing trunking, layout, where you're going to be putting stuff, you know, how it's going to look. So that's the kind of trunking I use. But if you were to use, you know, model up your whole entire panel just using this stuff, the amount of detail that's gone into this, the amount of arcs and faces and edges and stuff, it'll just slow down your model. So you don't need to go to that level of detail. We've done all this from scratch just in the last sort of hour. We've made the enclosure, we've put the plinth on, we've put a little door lock on. Let's hide the door. We've got an aluminium gland plate in the bottom. We're going to make this a bottom entry panel, so all the cables will come in at the bottom. And then we've got our trunking and DIN rail in sections, and then we're going to start to put parts on. That'll do for terminals. I don't want to go too crazy, but if we bring the panel back, the enclosure itself, you can see why I built the brackets. So if you're on site, you're on your hands and knees wiring these field cables. If that terminal's facing you rather than facing 90 degrees, it's so much easier. It's so much easier for you to put wires in when you can actually see the bottom of the terminal. Yeah, so I try to use the 45-degree angles where I can. It just makes life easier for the guys on site. Right, so there's obviously two sections that I've not populated, but I'm kind of running out of time now. I feel like I've showed enough for you to understand kind of how to build 3D models in this software.